So, this is the NFL TV schedule and maps. Week 15 2025 of the NFL season. So here's the first look at the maps for a week for CBS early, CBS late, and Fox early and Fox late. This is when they have before. Sometimes I remember one channel, like CBS would have they would each have 8 weeks, one have 17 weeks. In the last week of the season, they would each have 1 week 17. So it'd be equal amount of double headers for each chick, 9 out of the 18 weeks. You can each do 9 in the last week of the season. They always had a double header. So it'd be 10 for one and 9 for the other. But then they would alternate. But now I believe they're just doing it towards even amount. So they later in the season each team gets them on the same day. And this week 15 ends up being the one later, and they do it later in the season for playoffs. I like that, having that later in the season in playoff positioning, because then it really means something for like the fans watching. You watch teams are in like playoff contention. Two big games are in playoff contention. And on both networks, CBS and Fox. I really like that, So we have in Miami and Pittsburgh was supposed to be on ESPN and ABC before the season started. They made a deal this year prior to season starting, unlike last season, and they had only the first so many games in there, and then they had like a couple off, and then for like their celebrity like game shows, they had like Christmas themed game show episodes of weeks, but they must not have made a deal, to have every single week on ABC, this year. They must not have every game on ABC every single week, and especially with the simulcasts. Have a simulcast every single week on ABC. They must not have. So they switched it to this one not being simulcast on ABC. And then they switched with week 16. Jacksonville at Indianapolis and Jacksonville. And then we have WFO or CBS 4 Miami, and that is where Miami Pittsburgh is. Then WTAE ABC 4 in Pittsburgh. So WTAE is the call it is the official call it station on but then they might identify itself as like CBS 4 or ABC 4 or CBS Miami. Sometimes they might and sometimes they might identify as their local call-ins, like some stations in the area don't always So we have a CBS early window, and we have most of the country is actually going to see LA Chargers at Kansas City with Kennard Trinity. Most of the West Coast is going to see that one. Most of the West Coast and the Central United States is going to see that one. And you also have, all except for a little bit of Wyoming, and a tiny tad of Nebraska, it's a Wyoming station. And you have a little bit of California, I think that's an Arizona station. And then there's a little bit of Nevada, except for Las Vegas area. Nevada, right before Las Vegas area gets in Arizona station, and there's also a little bit of Arizona that gets in Mexico station or Utah station, the Four Corners area station, I guess. They get that game. So they have like Mexico station or Colorado station or Utah station, maybe a Four Corners shared station. Yeah, and there's a bit of Arizona. It's they got it um as like a duel with California, maybe. So then they get the California game, like Jersey, Kansas City, and then you have it ends in like Iowa. There's a bit of Iowa, a little bit of Minnesota gets a Sioux Falls, South Dakota station. Iowa, Minnesota gets like an Iowa station. Or there's a little Illinois that gets like Missouri stations, like St. Louis, Missouri, Detroit, Missouri, Quad Cities, Iowa station. And then you have most of North Dakota, not all of North Dakota, all of South Dakota, except the Fargo area is not getting that game. Then you have all of Wisconsin, most of Illinois, a little bit of Kentucky and Tennessee. Kentucky, it gets a Cape Girardeau station, goes a little bit of Tennessee. You have a little bit of Memphis, Tennessee area that goes a little bit of Arkansas. You got Arkansas, most of Tennessee, and most of Indiana, most of Michigan. It goes into like the Northeast, except for the New York City area, New Jersey area, a little bit of Pennsylvania. That's a New York station, the Philadelphia area. Then you go into Northeast, most of the Northeast. Then you have like North Carolina. And you have the Richmond, Virginia area. It's going to get Buffalo, New England. You have North Carolina. You have, and I see why a little bit of Wyoming is Buffalo, New England. Just on Wyoming for college. And then you have Buffalo. Then you have Tennessee, North Carolina, South, a little bit of South, most of South Carolina, except for a little bit of Georgia station, and then most of Georgia, except for a little bit of areas like the New York Jets Jacksonville game. Most of Florida, look at that game. Then you have most of Louisiana gets the game, except for the Baton Rouge area. The Baton Rouge area will get Baltimore at Cincinnati because Joe Burrow went to LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So Louisiana State University. And then and then we have, the Baltimore at Cincinnati. It's the NFC, it's the AFC North area. So you have like most of Ohio, except for a little bit that gets from Indiana station, a little bit, tiny little bit of Michigan to Ohio station. It goes into Kentucky, and then it goes in a little bit of Indiana, it gets Kentucky station, or Cincinnati, Ohio station. And you have West Virginia, most of Pennsylvania, except for a little bit that gets the New York station, or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area station. It goes in the Maryland, DC area. West Virginia, except a little bit that gets a Richmond, Virginia station. Wonder if it's Richmond, Virginia station. Wonder if they choose before the week to have Buffalo, New England as a feature game. Maybe, or unless there's a college rooting interest from there, I don't know. Then we have, that was Norfolk area and then Baton Rouge area. Then the New York Jets Jacksonville is just in the bare minimum areas. In the bare minimum area, there's like a 75-mile radius area that they do. You can see it's in New York City area, a little bit, 75-mile radius, like New Jersey, a little bit of Connecticut, like it's a New York station, So, yeah. And then it goes in a little bit of Panama City, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, goes up to Savannah, Georgia. And we know that South Carolina gets Savannah station, a little bit of Georgia gets could be getting a Tallahassee, Florida station, Jacksonville, Florida station, that area. So then we have Alaska and Hawaii are getting like Georgia, Kansas City. Then the CBS late window. Most countries going to show you Green Bay, Denver, including Hawaii, like James, and then Indianapolis, Seattle is throughout the country a little bit. Besides the areas that you think you would have the game. You have the Seattle area, you have the Washington, most of Idaho, not all Idaho, but a good bit of Idaho, a little bit of Montana. It's an Idaho station, and then you have some parts of Idaho that get a Washington station, and in Oregon, maybe get a little bit of Oregon station as well. And then it goes in Oregon. Most of California gets the game, except for a little bit. Like it's in Reno. It's in the Reno, Nevada station. Or like a. And there's a little bit of California that gets, or Arizona gets like a California station, or just dual stations. So there's one either California station duos, a station, or it's an Arizona station. Probably an Arizona station that goes with California. They're showing in it's on that case. It's the AFC, it's the NFC West area market, except for all the NFC West market, except for Arizona is showing that because Arizona currently they're all the playoffs, so doesn't really matter for a playoff position. And most of Indiana except for the big Cincinnati station or Chicago, Illinois station, and South Bend, Indiana. It goes into Michigan, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Ohio. And you got the EW and Louisville areas. And you got the Springfield, Illinois station. It goes into Springfield, Illinois. Then you have the Houston and Texas, the Houston, Texas area. In Houston, Texas, immediate market. Not the Sunday tea market for the Houston Texans area, just the Houston tea market only. And they're showing that because it's in Houston area because it's an AFC South team involving the AFC South team in Houston, in Minneapolis. And depending on what goes on, you could have a massive tie, a three-way tie for 9 and 5. You could have a three-way tie at 9 and 5, for the playoffs. So that'd be huge because Indianapolis is 8 and 5, Houston is 8 and 5, and Jacksonville is 9 and 4. So, and it's in the Jacksonville, Florida area, immediate area only. And then we have Fox early. We have most of the country. A good bit of the country is getting Las Vegas, Philadelphia, Great Wilson. But there are parts of the country that are getting a different game. That's going to Las Vegas, Philadelphia. You have a good bit of the country getting Cleveland at Chicago. You have the whole NFC North area and the extended team market for the Sunday team market area for these teams like Minnesota Vikings. Obviously impacts the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, the Illinois. I want to see that game, but Minnesota Vikings it doesn't impact as well because if Chicago loses, Minnesota has hope for that. It's just a thin chance. They have to have other things go right, like with Detroit. Not winning. So many games like Chicago losing out at Detroit, only winning one game, not against Minnesota. Minnesota has to win out. Dallas, has to either win how many games, ready to be this record at best, I think. So either have that same exact record or be the record at best, And it goes into North South Dakota, a little Wyoming, most of Wyoming, a little bit Montana, a little bit goes into Denver area, which I'm kind of surprised by. It goes into Denver area. And you have most of Missouri, most of Nebraska, all of Iowa, all of Illinois, all of Michigan, all of Ohio, which always makes sense because Cincinnati. I was playing on CBS early in Ohio. Fox City gets all of Cleveland area, which makes sense. Then you go to Indiana. Most of Kentucky, except for a little bit, gets a Tennessee station. And then most of West Virginia, not all West Virginia, but a good half of West Virginia, the Pittsburgh area. AFC North. I guess it goes in the AFC North area. And then you have most of Missouri, except for the Springfield, Missouri area. It goes in a little bit of Kansas. And then we have the Jacks and Mississippi area. Someone must have played for one of those teams, a team in college in Jacks, Mississippi. Area like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Southern Miss, and the Fort Myers area. The college teams in the Fort Myers area, or either it's from Fort Myers or college teams from Fort Myers. Florida area. So, and then we have Washington New York Giants, just in New York. It's in the New York City. They extend a little bit more than New York Giant Foxes. It goes in New York City area, Albany, New York, Burlington, Vermont. There's a little bit of Massachusetts, Connecticut, most of Connecticut. And then you have the Baltimore, Maryland area, the Washington D.C., the Washington D.C. area, most of Virginia. It goes into Greensboro, North Carolina. And we have a little bit of Tennessee. And then it goes into some of West Virginia. Yeah. And a little bit of Pennsylvania gets a Maryland station. Or maybe dual Pennsylvania, Maryland. So we're at the Maryland one. Either way. And then Arizona, Houston. Not all of Texas gets that game. Obviously makes sense because the Dallas and Wichita follows Texas. They're not getting the game because it's Philadelphia for the NFC East. They still have a chance to win the NFC East, so they want to watch Philadelphia. Makes sense. And you have Texas, most of Texas gets a game, except for a little bit because there's Shreveport, Louisiana Station, Texas. You have Las Vegas at Philadelphia. And you have most of Arizona that gets a game, except for a little bit that gets like a Four Corners, must be a Four Corners type station. And a little bit of Nevada goes into the Arizona station. That goes a little bit of they're going in Fox early. They're going with California. They make California, Arizona combo station. People from a little bit of California, a little bit of Arizona in the area get that station. Those stations, same stations. On the CBS one with the California one. On Fox one with the Arizona one. Arizona's liking, especially in the early window there. Arizona, Houston. So it goes all the way to New Mexico and a tiny little county and a little bit of Oklahoma. And then a little bit of just one tiny little bit in Kansas that gets an Oklahoma station. And a little bit of Mexico that gets a Texas station. And El Paso area is not getting that game. They're getting Las Vegas at Philadelphia. And it goes in a little bit of Louisiana. So someone must have went to one of the colleges in Louisiana. That's not LSU. Like Louisiana Monroe. Like non-LSU college. So I went a little bit Mississippi as well. Then Fox Lake. Most of the country is going to get Detroit LRMs. So it's less currently. It's obviously the big game. Detroit's 8-5. You need a win to stay in the playoff picture. Being 8-6. Could hurt them pretty drastically in the playoff race. With 3 games, it could be 2 out of the playoff picture. you have, and then Tennessee at San Francisco goes in the Reno, Nevada area. And that goes in the second round, San Francisco, Fresno. We'll have Oregon, that's at Northern California Station. And all the Nashville, Tennessee, except for the Memphis, Tennessee area. You don't have it, it's on Memphis, Tennessee, it's in the 75-mile area. So like I was saying, Memphis, Tennessee is on that market. We have Kentucky, we have Virginia. Yeah, so I get that they're at 75-mile radius. Yes, or next radius in the submarket. Maybe two, so. And then we have Tennessee, and then we have a little bit of Georgia, gets a tiny bit, does not get the gas, so I'm station. Yeah. Carolina is most of North and South Carolina, except for they got some Savannah, Georgia, you get Trailers, and then it's all of Louisiana, the Shreveport, Louisiana station, goes in the parts of Texas and Oklahoma and Mississippi, and we have most of Mississippi, or Arkansas, excuse me. Most of Shreveport, Louisiana goes in Arkansas, so Arkansas, some of Oklahoma, and Texas, and we have, and there's a little bit that gets like North, Mississippi station, or like Louisiana station, maybe the French. And we have most of Mississippi except for the Memphis, areas like in Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee, won't be Alabama area. Gets a CD. So that's why some of them gets the areas like a Fringe, Mississippi station, and Panama City, Florida area. Which is made by Burger from the third. So our Burger from the third now is calling NFL games with Jason Minnie. So he was calling games with someone else. He was calling games with like Emma was calling games. Jason Minnie was calling a game with Joe Davis because Emma was calling the division series for Fox. And then when Emma, and then his division series was over, so he went with the Orioles. So. And then we have, but yeah. Just many and Robert Griffin do call games in college together. It's kind of a natural fit. And then we have, so yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, that's the Fox late, Fox early, CBS late, and the CBS early. So we'll talk about, so there's some updates for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the Fox, for the CBS windows and the Fox windows. I'll let you know, but maybe for Fox early, the only one that's really changing is the Fox early and the CBS early. Other than that, I really don't see anything really changing in the CBS late and the Fox late. It's pretty much set where it is.